Budget battery testing. I'm going to go ahead and test all 4 of these batteries in detail. We're going to see how much capacity they have, which one's the fastest, which one has the worst voltage sag under a high amp draw, all kinds of tests. And at the end, I'm going to have a spreadsheet where I go into great detail on all the different specifications I measured for these batteries. Don't worry if you don't want to hear me drone on incessantly. This is going to be a long video. At the bottom you can scroll through and there's different chapter selections, so you can skip to the section that most interests you. And again, at the end I'll have the spreadsheet along with my personal impressions of each of these batteries. So we have the Ovonic 5200, the Tindling 5200, Hoovo 5200, and RCPower 5200, all 3S. These 2 are 50C, the Hoovo is rated at 80C, and the RCPower is rated at 100C. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm really excited to test these 4, but I do have more batteries coming, so I'll add more to the list as we go, and I hope more battery manufacturers let me test their products to compare them, and we can see which ones are the best and which ones could use a little improvement. I wanted to use the Big Rock to do speed testing on road, but it's too crazy, too inconsistent. I couldn't keep it on the road. I hear the Big Rock can be a big handful at speed, but we'll see how we can do. I got the GPS zeroed out and we're ready to go. Whoa. And they're not kidding.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't
yeah, I guess I'm done. 41.4. So the next idea I had was we're going to use it for runtime testing and to test the C rating of the batteries. This Big Rock is power hungry. It'll suck down a 3S battery maybe 10 minutes. I've never timed it, but that's what we're going to do now. So first up, I got the Ovonic in here, and then the Hoovo's coming next. I'm going to time it until the low voltage shuts down. Once it shuts off, I'm going to turn the ESC off and then back on, and then I'm going to run it one more time. And that total time is going to be the run time that I count. And we'll see if some of these batteries shut off earlier than others, which would indicate there's voltage sag, and of course we don't want that. So the longer run time the better. I'll be driving this on grass, and hopefully at 3S I can maintain full throttle, and we'll see how this goes. First up again is Ovonic. I apologize for the wind noise. The wind is really ripping today, but I'm going to go ahead and start the timer and get this thing ripping. Timer starting now. Looks like I have it set to 50%. I forgot to adjust it. So what I'll do is for every car, gosh darn it. I gotta turn it around slow so I don't tip it over. If I do make any mistakes, I will keep this as close as I can. All right, that's it. 2 minutes, 25 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off and then back on. And it'll probably shut down again pretty quickly. But let's see. I'll go ahead and start the timer again, and we'll keep going. All right, that's it. So we're at about 250 for the total time. Now, I bet if I turn the throttle down to 50%, it would run a lot longer, but that's all we got. All right, here we go. Here's the Ovonic. We just ran it. I think it was about a little less than 3 minutes if I remember right. And it might be hard to see with the voltage is at 11.1, 3.7, 3.73, and 3.69. So it did not take very long. Let's go ahead and see if the next battery, the Hoovo, can go a little longer. And I think the voltage shutoff for this truck's 3.6, but there was some voltage sag for sure, which I guess probably is unexpected, but we'll see how the other batteries perform compared to this Ovonic. Now the C rating for the Ovonic was 50. For the Hoovo, the C rating is 80. So we'll see if these claimed C ratings make any difference and if the voltage sag seems similar. Are they shutting off around the same point, or is one clearly performing better than the other? So I'm gonna go ahead and start the timer and get this thing going. Now when I'm doing this testing, obviously if there's 10 or 20 seconds difference, that's within the margin of error of how I'm testing this. But if one goes a minute or two longer, that would be significant. All right, here we go. I'm starting the timer now. I'm easing into it because I don't want to crash or do something silly. And that is it. We are at 2 minutes, 15 seconds. And I'll go ahead and restart it like I did last time and see how much longer we can go. Which side of the truck I need to be on. All right, we're back on, and I'm gonna go ahead and restart the timer. Here we go. I think the run times are gonna be pretty similar. All right, that's it. At about 2:43. I think the Ovonic was somewhere around 250, but my measurements aren't that precise. So I'll go ahead and open this up and we'll see what the voltage is in here. So we got 11.0, 3.69, 3.71, 3.69. Very similar performance to the Ovonic. So I would say they're basically equal. My testing isn't accurate enough to really pick a winner between the two. I'm not going to do this with every battery, but on the Hoovo I'm going to turn it down to 50% throttle now and see how much longer we can go. I bet it goes a fair distance further because the voltage sag won't be as bad when it's turned down to 50%. So there we go, we're at 50% now, and I'll restart the timer. All right, here we go, 50% with the Hoovo. It might go just as long as it did on the 3S run. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see what we got here. We are at about 1:30. on what was already a depleted battery. So it's going a lot longer. Curious to see how low we get with our voltage. Still going. We're about 2 minutes and 2 minutes 50 seconds now. So it's gone longer on a depleted battery at 50% than it did with a fresh battery at 100%. All right, I think that's it. So about 3 minutes, 50 seconds. I'm gonna keep going until it totally stops now. It shouldn't be much longer. All right, that's it. Just hit the low voltage, shut off, soft one, and now the hard one as well. So let me go ahead and see what the voltage is at now. 10.6, or 3.55, 3.56, 3.54. So it went a lot longer, and I guess the low voltage shut off, you know, around 3.6, give or take. The soft one, and then the hard one's further down still. Next up is the RCPower 3S 5200 100C battery. We'll see if that 100C rating has any noticeable impact on the length of time before the Big Rock hits its low voltage shutoff. The two batteries I tested yesterday were somewhere around 2 minutes 45 seconds total runtime before they shut off. So we'll see if this does any better or if it's pretty similar. And again, we'll be doing the second shutoff. So it shut off the first time. I think the others were just a little over 2 minutes. And then we'll do a second shutoff after I reset the ESC and see how much longer it can go, just to make sure that the first one wasn't a false shutoff. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and clear out the stopwatch, and we'll go ahead and start now. Oop, a little slip there. Gotta be more careful on these corners. All right, 2:06. We have our first shutdown. Go ahead and reset the ESC. And we'll start timing again now. And that's it. That's about 240, maybe 245. So very similar results. I think all four batteries that I'm testing so far are going to be right around the same. All right, RCPower's end voltage is 11, 3.67, 3.68, and 3.66. So pretty similar to the other batteries. I'll make a summary of all these voltages in a spreadsheet at the end, but if my memory's right, that's very close, maybe a little lower, but not a large amount than the others. All right, next up is the Tindling. I do have one more battery that I think is coming in the mail. And what I'll do so the testing is fair, because the grass could be longer or shorter in the future, is I'll run one of the batteries I ran today, get a time, and then run the new battery and see how close they are. Again, all these batteries seem to be within a few seconds of each other, and my testing isn't that precise. You know, I'm doing different speeds in the corners, and I might accelerate a little faster or go a little longer or shorter in a straightaway. So you know, 5 or 10 seconds is insignificant. Maybe even 15 seconds in this test would be insignificant. So, so far, everybody's performing very closely. Here we go with the Tindling. I'll go ahead and start the timer now. The Tindling's rated at 50C. All right, 2 minutes, 7 seconds. And I'll go ahead and start the stopwatch again right about now. All right, 240. Actually, that would be more like 235. So, you know, we're all in the ballpark. Interestingly, the Tindling had the highest capacity in my capacity testings I just finished. And it definitely did not have any higher or longer of a runtime in this tall grass than the other LIPOs. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and test the voltage now. Okay, here's the Tindling. Just got done its testing. 11.1, 3.71, 3.72, and 3.69. All three of these batteries, I'm sorry, all four of these batteries have had voltages that are within 300ths of one another in all the cells. So they're very similar in that regard as well. No issues with large variations in the voltage. So that's it for now. Like I said, I might get one more battery here to test in the short term and then hopefully more long term. But so far, all these batteries seem very similar. All right, I'm trying to make sure I get the most consistent tests possible. So it's a low wind night tonight. I'm gonna run all four batteries I've been testing again. The Ovonic, the Tindling, the RCPower, and the Hoovo. And we're gonna see what they do one last time, make sure the speeds are consistent and that they make sense. So I'll report back here in a little bit with some results. Okay, here's tonight's lineup. Again, first we got Hoovo, we have Tindling, RCPower, and Ovonic. I will have some more batteries I'm going to test later on, and what I'll do is I'll take one of these batteries as a baseline that we have good solid data and compare it to other batteries I test to make sure that, you know, we take into account any variations in conditions. But hopefully tonight being a nice low wind night and I have all four batteries out here at the same time, we'll really get some consistent results and it'll reinforce the previous results that we got. All right, first up, again, is the Hoovo. GPS is cleared out, and we're ready to go. The Hoovo has been a highly rated battery online, and I could see why. It's done really well in my testing. This thing's a ripper. All right, here we go. Hoovo. 3S 5200 80C. Let's see how the Hoovo did. .6. There may have been wind playing in effect previous days. Let me run it just a little bit more and we'll see how it goes. 55.8, so nice consistent runs. We'll call that 56 miles an hour. Let's reset and we'll get ready for the next battery. Next up is RCPower. It hit 60 miles an hour on a windy night, and it was the fastest battery I tested, but we need to confirm it. It has a few more charges through it now, and we'll see how it does. It may still well be the fastest, but we gotta run it to see. The Hoovo just went nearly 56. RCPower is the only battery rated at 100C. All right, 57.6. It's the fastest so far tonight. Let's see how it does against the other cars, or the other batteries rather. Man, his tires are hot. 57.6 is the time to beat. RCPower 100C. I'm gonna run the RCPower just a little bit more. I have a lot of runs through the Tindling and the Ovonic, not so much in the Hoovo and the RCPower. So just to make sure it's not going to get any faster, we'll do one more run here. Uh-oh. It didn't record. All right, there we go. 49.5. It slowed down a little bit, which isn't shocking because it's done a lot of running. Get this cleared out and ready for the next battery. Next up is the Tindling 5200 50C battery. The Tindling holds the biggest charge, but let's see if it's the fastest tonight. It's been neck and neck with the Ovonic. But again, we have a nice low wind night tonight, which should take some of the potential variability out of these runs. All right, here we go, Tindling. $57.2, a nice strong showing from the Tindling. Cleared out, and we'll run it a little bit more. Not sure why my flashlight's on, but that's okay. $56.2, so it was fastest on the first run, and that's not a shocker there. Next up is the Ovonic. Clear this thing out and see what we can do. Ovonic 5200 50C hit 57.1, so it's right there with the others, but let's get another run in here and see if we can improve slightly. .3, so not shocking. It slowed down a little bit, but I think we really have good consistent runs from all these cars. I'm sorry, all these batteries, and I'm gonna go back and review the data. All right, I ran all 4 batteries through the Traxxas VXL tonight. Really consistent readings, almost no wind whatsoever tonight, so wind is not a factor. It's probably about 75 degrees tonight. The tires certainly get hot on the car, but I think this is the night to use the data from, because very consistent readings. That's what I was really going for, because there was some fluctuation before that I couldn't quite explain, but got it dialed in tonight, and I want to give you guys the best results I can. Now, I know it's a little ghetto having my cell phone on the bottom of the car like this, but it actually works really well, especially on this car and my Kyosho Ultima Pro XL, because they like to wheelie like crazy. And the cell phone, the weight of it helps keep the nose down. When I'm doing these speed runs, I'm not interested in wheeling. It's a lot of fun in this car because it has the wheelie bar. The Ultima, not so much, because it flips over. I did shoe up these tires in these speed runs. They're slicks now, and they're feeling a little thin. So that's unfortunate. I wasn't trying to spin these tires, but what are you gonna do? The Traxxas is a pretty quick car, pretty stable car, and it was an excellent test fuel for these speed runs. So I hope you guys enjoyed these speed runs. They were a lot of fun doing them, and I think I got some solid results. And I'll be testing some more batteries in the future, so we'll see how those look. I hope to maybe test some higher end batteries and see if they really are higher end. Are they really faster? Do they really provide more storage? Because the Tindling and Ovonic were way above their storage capacities. The Hoovo and the RCPower also way above the 5200 milliamp hour. And the RCPower and the Hoovo are brand new. So they may actually get a little bit more capacity as I keep charging them. All right, now I'm gonna go over the data. All 4 of these batteries performed really closely. It didn't seem to make any noticeable difference in my testing if they were rated at 50C, 80C, or 100C. The capacities are all very close. The Tindling edged out the other batteries at 5600 milliamp hours, which is a full 400 milliamp hours higher than what it's rated at. The Ovonic was second with 5332. RCPower was not far behind with over 5400, and Hoovo was down a little bit from the others, but still close to 5300 milliamp hours. And of the 4 batteries, I looked at the percent of the total capacity, or the percent charge that was above storage voltage, which for my charger is 11.46 volts. And what this kind of shows you is if you have more voltage in that range, in theory, it should run a little faster, maybe a little bit higher top speeds, but that did not translate into actual testing results. But here again, the Tindling did the best, but all of them were fairly close, as you can see by the data here. And then from 3.3 volts per cell or 9.9 volts up to storage voltage, again, they're all pretty similar with about 3,500 milliamp hours each. The next set of data I found really interesting. My Big Rock is power hungry. When you're going all out, it's drawing around 100 amps of current. And all 4 of these batteries had significant voltage sag. They would shut off at 3.7 volts per cell, but the voltage cutoff in the Big Rock is actually set around 3.5 volts per cell, or even a little lower. So what that means is that more than half the capacity in the battery is not available for ripping hard in the Big Rock, and that would be similar in any other high demand RC car. As you can see, the Ovonic from 3.7 volts per cell to 4.2 volts per cell. Again, that's where my Big Rock would shut off when I was running hard in the grass at 3S. It only provided a little over 2,400 milliamp hours. The Tindling wasn't much better at 2,500 milliamp hours. The Hoovo was at 2,414, and RCPower was a little lower than the rest at 2,338 milliamp hours. Now, I do look forward to testing what are quote-unquote more premium batteries in the future. It'll be really interesting to see if they don't have as bad voltage sag. So for instance, instead of only getting 2,400 or 2,500 milliamp hours of useful current or capacity in a battery, maybe I would get closer to 3,000 or even better, because that voltage wouldn't sag down to 3.5 volts when it's under high demand, and kind of cheats you out of some of the capacity. Although I could be living in a dream world, and they may not perform any better, but I really look forward to testing some more expensive batteries to see, are they worth it? Are they not? But I was kind of shocked to see I was getting less than half of the capacity of the battery in my Big Rock, and that explains why it's only lasting 2.5 minutes or 2 minutes and 45 seconds tops with a high demand run like the stress test I did in the grass. So the test did what it was supposed to do, and it really demanded a lot of current, but it highlighted how I could either use a much larger capacity battery, or perhaps there is some room on the table for additional performance with another battery. Now, after the Big Rock was done running at 100% power, I was able to turn it down to 50% power, and I think I got close to an additional 4 minutes of running in the grass. So again, that really just shows you when the demand is really high for current, the voltage sag in all these batteries is very significant. And when I cut it down to a much lower amp drawage, I was able to run, even after doing the stress test, almost an additional 4 minutes of runtime. As far as runtimes go though, even though there was some variation in the capacity of these batteries, it didn't show up in the runtime. Again, my testing method wasn't perfect. I could take corners differently each run. Some passes were a little longer in distance than others, but anytime it was within 10 or 15 seconds of another time, I think is negligible. And despite some of these batteries having 200-300 more milliamp hours of storage than the others, that did not show up in the high draw test. And that Big Rock just sucked these batteries down, and all of them were essentially equal. I couldn't really find any difference when I was testing them. Now, I tested the voltage after that high draw test in the Big Rock, and as you can see, the voltage spread was good for all these batteries. There was no more than 0.04 of a difference between one cell to another. I don't think there was really a winner here. The Hoovo and the RCPower had slightly lower voltages overall. Is that related to the higher C rating? I don't know. It's so close, I don't think you could really say. So I would say that was pretty much equal in all the different batteries as well. Now, the resistance in all these batteries was essentially the same. I think the small variations on this spreadsheet are negligible. All the batteries are fairly new. The Ovonic is the oldest at about a year old, and I've charged it about 25 times. The Tindling is the second oldest at about 6 months with around 15 charges. And the Hoovo and RCPower were both new for this testing, and I charged them about 5 times. The construction of the batteries all looked very similar, and the weight of the batteries was also very similar. The Hoovo was the lightest at 359 grams, whereas the Ovonic and the Tindling were the same at 371. And then the heaviest was the RCPower at 389 grams. The speed left of the dash was done on the day where there was essentially no wind. I wanted to use the data from the day with no wind because it seemed to be the most fair. There wouldn't be a gust that could potentially throw off one battery from another. And as you can see, the Tindling and the Ovonic were essentially the same. The Hoovo, for whatever reason, was noticeably slower that day. I couldn't really figure out why, because it was running consistent right around 55.8. I think there was another run at like 55.6. So it was, you know, very consistent, but it was consistently slower. And on the next time, actually it was the previous day I ran it where it was windy, it was very competitive with the other batteries. It's actually the second fastest. So that was a little strange, and I'm not sure why that was the case, but that's the data that I got. As far as the RCPower goes, it was the fastest both days, the windy day and the calm day. And that being said, if you were to run these batteries side by side without a GPS, there's no way you'd tell a difference in speed. There's no way you would tell a difference in punch. They all seem very similar to me. And as far as run times go, be it in the Arrma Big Rock doing the high draw test, or in the Bandit, you know, just bashing around or whatever, again, I don't think you would notice any difference. And that's where we come to price. All of them are priced around $30, so they're all, you know, an excellent value. I wouldn't hesitate to recommend any of these batteries, and I think there's strong value for all of these. The prices listed are what I saw when I compiled the spreadsheet. However, they could be different today. I think I actually saw the Tindling the other day that was maybe even slightly cheaper than that. It was on a really good sale. As I test additional batteries, I'll go ahead and update this spreadsheet. It'll be really interesting to see if some of these more expensive batteries that I plan on testing, you know, are any better than these budget batteries that I was very impressed with all of them. But perhaps a higher end battery would have less voltage sag. Maybe I get longer run times in a Big Rock. Maybe there would be higher top speeds. We shall see, but I'll keep updating the spreadsheet as I go. That's it for the data, and we're gonna move on to the next segment of this video.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want, and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity.
I'm impressed with all 4 of these batteries, honestly. I would recommend all 4 of them. And, you know, I wouldn't hesitate to not recommend one of them if it did not perform. I had an N1 battery that I've harped on quite a bit, a 2S battery that was garbage. It was trash when I got it, and I had to retire early because it puffed up. So I have no problem calling out batteries when they're no good, but these 4 batteries I've tested all exceeded my expectations, all had very close performance, and it's going to be hard to pick a winner, but I'll go back and look at the data, see what I can come up with, and you guys, if you could, leave me a comment. I love reading comments. If you have any questions, let me know, and tell me what you think the winner is. Maybe there's one that stands out in a certain category that's more important to you. These speed runs are fun, but top speed might not be as important as capacity to a lot of you people, or vice versa, depending on what you're doing. So that's it for now, but please subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you like this content, and I'll be back out here again doing some more speed runs soon and battery testing. And if you have a battery you want tested, please send it my way. I'd love to test it, and I'll add it to the results, and we can get a big comparison of as many batteries as possible. Take care, guys.